Hello, day 6. Today's been a good day, but I've been putting off doing this video for a little while just because I've been wanting to talk about some stuff, like not very serious stuff, but just like little things that I've thought of. Today's been a good day, all in all. No more sugar, and noticed some things, but I think I'll start with the less exciting stuff and move on to the positives at the end of the video so that we end on a high note. But I don't know, I think I wanted to talk a little bit about like the little things that make being fat really uncomfortable and like probably so much worse than, just being fat. It's all the little things that day to day you just kind of deal with, and you deal with because you have to, not because you want to. So I wrote myself a little list, got organized for this video. First off is achy joints. Being so heavy puts a lot of strain on like your knees and your hips and your ankles. And I have a bad right ankle because when I was younger I used to jump down stairs 2 at a time, and then the last 4 I would jump really far, and a couple times I landed on my ankle as opposed to my foot, and so yeah, so it's never been quite the same. I think it actually was a small break, but the doctor just said it was sprained, so I think they lied to me. So achy joints are a really big problem. Also, like when you wake up in the morning, if your bed isn't amazing, or if you're like me and you've had a bed for a really long time and it's created a divot, which is another annoying thing. You create divots and things. But yeah, if you have a divot in your bed, it causes like back pain, which is super fun. Not. So yeah, so joint pain. Number 2 I have is clothes never fitting quite right, even if they say they're made for your size. Like even if you get them in the right size for whatever size you may be, like I'm a 24, even if I get a 24, there's still spots that are really tight and make it so that like in the knees, where you're kind of like, oh, you never really think about the knees, but they end up making it so that the pants pull down because you bend your knees and it causes strain and it pulls your pants down, and you're like, oh, that's great, I really wanted to full moon everyone today. So yes, that's always fun. Also shirts. When you're a girl, you have, big old boobs that get in the way, and so any kind of button-up shirt is like awkward. You have to get it like too big because otherwise you'll be pulling it open and then everybody can just see your bra, and you're like, no, again, flashing people, not what I wanted to do today. So that's really annoying. I think also smaller girls with big boobs deal with that one, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. The next 2 kind of go together. When you're larger and you carry in your stomach, when you get to a certain point, you can't see your feet anymore when you're standing. So that's super awful. Because it's just like you can't see anything but how fat you are. So that's a real confidence booster. The next one after that was tying your shoes gets really difficult. I've had to like figure out how to get around my stomach to tie my shoes, which is awful. Discovered that putting my pants on after putting my socks on works best, because then I can just like leave the fly unzipped and then bend over, like stand up and bend over and tie my shoes. And thinking about it, that's a lot to do, to just tie your fucking shoes in the morning. Like you have like, a minute that you normally would take to tie your shoes, and then, being fat, it takes like 5. It's like ridiculous. Next one kind of goes with us as well. Bending over and breathing is not a thing, especially if you carry in your stomach area. Like if you carry around the middle, so you're like apple shape. The stomach fat that goes in front of your intestines, which is what really like makes your stomach like protrude, the words, but really be, you know, out and about. When you bend over, it like pushes into your intestines, which like pushes your stomach up into your lungs, and so you can't breathe. Like, breathing is impossible. So you literally have to, like, you know, pick up that one thing, or like tie your one shoe and then stand up, breathe, and then go back down. So it's like when you're like a dolphin or a whale, like under the water, and they have to like come back up and breathe. So it's a lot the same for that. Yay. Next one is another breathing one. It's when you lay on your back. A lot of heavier set people have sleep apnea, which is where you stop breathing when you sleep. And a lot of times the reason is because, or at least I'm guessing the reason is sort of my my brain working. I've never asked a doctor, but what I would guess would be the reason is because when you're heavier, you've got all the weight pressing down on your chest, so it's like having like a small child or like a baby constantly like sleeping on top of your lungs, or like your rib cage, so you can't breathe. It doesn't immediately feel like you're gasping for oxygen, but it's like the longer you sleep on your back or like lay on your back, the harder it is, just because it gets heavier and more exhausting. And so then, you know, when you're asleep, you just stop breathing because your body's asleep. Let's see. Next one. I know most girls struggle with this, but always comparing yourself to other people, or like if you're a girl in a social situation and you're with other girls who are not nearly as big as you, which is like 90% of my friend group, and a boy comes into the picture, you know, you do really awkward things to get the boy's attention, but then at the same time you don't want it because you don't feel good about yourself. It's a really weird dilemma in your brain. But also then just, you know, thinking that everything you do compared to your friends, not just eating wise and like exercise and health wise, it's just not as good. So that's fun. Yeah, that's a Debbie Downer for you. Day to day, all day, every day. Let's see. Ooh, this one kind of comes up right now. Even I'm getting winded while just talking to you, sitting. But you get winded just walking down a completely flat block. Like, you know, I'll be walking home from the bus and I'll be walking, you know, a completely flat surface. I mean, obviously my hand's not flat, but like a flat surface, and I'll get winded. It's ridiculous. It's like I'm literally not even exerting that much energy, and yet still I'm breathing heavy and I'm sweating and my calves are on fire because they just hate moving. So that's awful and day to day and really weird. Like, you don't think about it when you're smaller, because when I was smaller I was like, oh, it's not that hard to like move and exercise and walk. Like, you're walking. Whatever, the things you learn, and you wish you didn't have to. This one sucks, and it makes you the most self-conscious, or makes me the most self-conscious, is stretch marks. I have them literally everywhere, and it's the most horrifying feeling, because it's like, you know, when you're not eating properly, one, they you know, they look gross, they're not cute, but then also when you're not eating right, they get really like dark and discolored. Like, discolored as in like dark red or purpley, like your blood flow isn't good. But also, it's like, when you think about it, stretch marks are an indicator of the fact that like you're so heavy your skin is pulling itself apart. It's like, that's disgusting. Like, so I don't know, like, I have them all over the place. I've got them on my, like, the underneath parts of my arms, like my stomach, my hips, my inner thighs, even on your boobs. Like, it's the most horrifying feeling. So it's awful. So that's awful. No other words for it. Stomach aches you give yourself. I've given myself so many like really horrible stomach aches because I've just eaten nothing but like really bad food, and it's like I know ahead of time that that's gonna happen. Like when I was at my worst, like right before I started this, I would have 2 or 3 pints of ice cream in a period of like 6 hours, and it's like that's a lot of dairy, that's a lot of like cream, that's a lot of sugar, that's a lot of really bad stuff. And you know, that just collect and not move because I wouldn't have any roughage to move it. Like I would literally only eat the 3 pints of ice cream and nothing else. So it's like, you know, one, that's like, holy crap, you're eating 3 pints of ice cream, and 2, like your stomach is just so mad at you and it just hurts. So that was, you know, at my worst, that was, yay, brutal honesty. This one is every day. Feeling ugly, like never, like even on good days when, you know, you have makeup on or your hair is doing exactly what it should be doing, just feeling ugly and never feeling like anyone will ever think you're pretty, mostly because you don't think you're pretty. And how can anybody think you're pretty if you don't think you're pretty? I definitely have gotten to a point where, if I'm honest, I really hate everything about myself. Yeah, and it doesn't feel good. It really, it hurts. But I think the thing that hurts the most, which is the last thing on my list, is the loneliness, because you get in your own head, and cut yourself off from people. You don't want to leave the house, and for me then I spiral into depression, and I get angry, and it's just really bad. But yeah, you get really lonely, and your friends try and tell you things that, like, you know, oh, you're beautiful, or oh, you know, you're amazing and I love you, or oh, you're great and you really, you know, I'm so glad you're in my life. But it's like, unless you see them day to day, it gets really hard to believe that they're really in your life, and that you're not alone, and that you're not, I don't know, just lonely. And, you know, as a girl of 24, I really want to be in a relationship. I want to have a boyfriend. I want to be in love. I miss that. And so yeah, it's very, very lonely, very sad. So yeah, that was the end of my list. Thankfully, ended on the saddest of notes. So yeah, now on to the peppy pepper. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but now to pep things up a bit. That must be what I was trying to say. I think this sugar thing is really starting to work. Today I was in the shower and I looked down, and hopefully I'm not hallucinating about this, but I think my stomach has gotten smaller. Like, I've lost a little bit of weight. We'll officially see tomorrow, but also my mom has noticed that my stretch marks are not as dark red, which is great. I didn't notice that, but you know, yeah, so yeah, so things are looking up. But I guess for today, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share, and see you tomorrow.